of Southeast Asia. This is from Barubador. The ship of salvation is the same ship that comes to pick up the slave, and the same ship that brought the slave into slavery, packed like sardines, according to the pen of this European who knew what he saw. He saw the slaves, according to this pen from this artist of European extraction, being packed into the ships in the bottom of the ship. This is what they say they did. The stone now speaks. How the African fought a losing battle with the European and his gun, and then were taken to the shore and loaded and packed on ships in the bottom of the ship. The stone, in silence, speaks loud and clear, with the Europeans on their head with their weapons, prepared to kill. Testimony from a rock. The European says the slaves were in cramped quarters below the deck. They know what they did. If you compare the cramped quarters from the European pen and from the stone monuments of the gods, you will see they both speak with accuracy. The black man was cramped on the bottom of the ship according to the stone monument of the gods, and the silence of the European pen bearing mute testimony to that truth, which only applies onward to America. The fight did not end with the capture. Naturally, tribal groups fought all the way to the mothership. They came out on the ocean to the mothership in battle array, prepared to fight, boarding the mothership, going out in stone and on paper, going to reclaim their relatives. Here they are on board one of the ships where the slaves are, a mutiny. Tribal members coming to the mothership, continuing the fight on the water to get their captured relatives and tribesmen back. On paper and in stone. The same battle, the same event, the same thing, testified by mute witnesses. Slaves coming up from beneath the ship fighting for their freedom, according to the European pen and according to the rock of the Africans of Asia. The fight on board ship, going out to meet the aggressor to bring back their relatives and friends who were captured. Naturally, after the European had won the battle, during the Middle Passage, when British inspectors would come, he would throw the Africans overboard to the crocodiles and the shark, according to his pen and according to the stone. In this sacred city, hidden for thousands of years, the events of the Middle Passage is told with mute testimony, in silence, in the loudest silence, with that bird, that phoenix on this ship, identifying who they are. They're the European who threw the black man overboard. On the rock and with the pen, two opinions of the same event equal the same opinion of the Middle Passage. Naturally, the crocodiles had their feast on the black man, where many, many millions died during the Middle Passage, according to both history books. Who were these founding fathers who did this to the Africans? According to their own pen, they were the worst kind of deranged ex-convicts which they had gotten out of their jails, shiploads of them, mass murderers, satanic worshippers, the worst deranged minds they could find, and their leader, this is his logo, Sir John Hawkins. This was his symbol. the chief slave master, the chief slave driver, the chief slave capture. This was his symbol, according to him, and this is according to the Africans of Asia in stone. Both tales, two people of the same story, reaching the same conclusion, one thousands of years before and one thousands of years after, bearing testimony to the wisdom and knowledge of the black man of Asia. Another story that was going on at the time was the mass murder of the American Indian, destruction of him, his civilization, his family, his tribal organization, and his people, for absolutely no reason at all, according to their pen, but greed. Here we see the confirmation of what they say in that document in the British Commonwealth about the families being separated at the crack of a whip. The father from the mother from the baby, and the relatives left crying, and the boatman holding the boat, anchoring it to shore. European art speaks in silence, and so the stones of that sacred city that was buried in the jungle, showing the boatman on the left, the Africans being prepared to be taken off the boat at the crack of a whip. The stone speaks, the paper speaks, and they both sing in harmony, while the boatman anchors them to shore according to the gods of Asia. Confirmed on stone on the left and paper on the right. The speaking stone. Naturally, the weak ones, the sickly ones, were left to die wherever they fell, with no help whatsoever. On to auction block. The history of the sale and marketing and capitalizing on human flesh is solely attributed to the European. The sale of the black families in America was the first big business of the United States. Here we see a black family on the auction block. The paper speaks, the auctioneer takes the bids, and the helpless, terrorized family stands up there in blind terror, waiting to see who will help separate them. And here we see the same identical scene in stone. The stone speaks loud, the pen of the European speaks loud, and they both sing together in perfect harmony. Truth, so clear a blind man could see it. Confirmed in living color and on paper, the whip separating the families being branded, particularly the woman, to identify who her new owner was, not her husband, but the European slave trader. They sold their own children that they had for the slave. The mulatto girl, Sarah. There's cards identifying the big businessman in the sale of human flesh. $1,200 for Negroes. Negroes for sale, according to these documents, the authentic official documents. There are no lies here. The paper speaks loud and clear. Valuable slaves for sale. Mulattress, mulatto. Sarah, Dennis, Fanny, mulatto. Mulatto. Blacks, mulattoes, Creoles. What kind of man is this that sells his own babies and anybody else's babies? Good God Almighty. Here we see he not only sold your baby and my baby, but he sold the flesh of his flesh and the bone of his bone. Imagine the unbridled license that they inflicted on the black ones. The great divide of the black family, the separation, according to what they say that they did, separating the black woman from her baby. Here she is in the history books of America, giving away her baby to a people who she knew would commit every type of the worst crimes of passion with malice that the human mind could think of, with unbridled license, according to their own words. This is the history of the black woman and her babies in the United States of America. By their pen, by their own admission, and by the stones of the Africans of Asia, the black woman giving her baby away to a known beast who had already inflicted the same pain on her.